Alright, this is the ultimate video on Soxl. Just went over a lot of things on this ETF. Soxl is a Direxion daily semiconductor bullish 3 times leverage ETF. Mainly these are for trading. It basically mimics the semiconductor industry, times to get 3 times long, the daily, profit, whatever it makes, 3 times leveraged. Now, looking at this is one of the most incredible charts. So this all started, let's go back here, had a split. Let's go back to 2015. Nothing was this wild and crazy in the market till we start to move up. To me, everything changed 2018, the credit crisis. We'll call it the mini credit crisis. Remember, they tried to raise interest rates that year. I'm not sure if it was the end of the year. I thought it was the end of the year. And everyone freaked out. The market freaked out. It went down a lot. And they didn't like it. They wanted zero interest rates, everyone. And they panicked and they backed off on it. So this was the start of it. You see this little cross here. We went down. We went up and then a little move down. But then we took off again. And we're like, okay, things are going the way we want. And then everything changed to COVID. COVID changed everything. The world has changed. Nothing's ever been the same. 2020. So if you look where we're at here, this was a high of 2207, 131, 2020. And, everyone remembers that. Remember, we're hearing over in China. We're hearing stories. It's going all over. It's coming over here. And, it's like the wave came over and everything changed. Closing down businesses, lockdown. It was really crazy. The one thing I said, I'm very good at predictions too, my whole life. I said, it's a cold, it's a flu, maybe it's a little stronger than that. But, I was going to the gym and I was feeling strong. They're like closing down the gyms. It was so ridiculous. And, if you don't have a strong immune system, you're obese. Most of the people, unfortunately, that passed away had health problems and are obese or just like that. If you're healthy, you need sun. You fought it off. Most people didn't even get sick. I probably even had it. I didn't even know it. So that's one thing. When you're dealing with the public or a population and you have to be a part of the public, that's what happens. You're going to have to follow the rules. And that's the one thing I don't like about, wherever you're at. I was firmly against it. And it was totally ridiculous and absurd, and I knew it. And, closings, you can't go here, can't go there. It was absurd. And that was the first time we saw America was shut down. People lost their businesses, I'm sure their houses. It was absurd and ridiculous. And, it was just a bad time. So anyway, let's get back to this. So, we're up here at that high. So 2207. And then we go down to the low here. That was in March. So very fast move. You look at the time frame. 357. Semiconductor 357 on this. That is amazing. You bought that low. You're extremely smart. Now, you could have been holding maybe at a time frame. You wanted to hold it for maybe it was 6 months, a year. A lot of sort of swing traders or longer hold traders, when stocks go down that much, like we're in this opportunity now, you're going to hold a while to get massive returns and gains. So you can see how we're getting overbought. Came all the way down. Now you have a crossover. This is the monthly chart. Right here was the crossover. I can't actually get on because it's the monthly, but it was between there. And the first green candle was April 30th, 2020. Low was 511. You get your first green candle. We start to move up and recover. Everything is like no one's in panic. It wasn't mass, like everyone's just, going away because of it. And, still a battle within it. They wear masks forever, that ridiculous concept. Standing on blue spaces and white spaces in the mall, and painted circles. So we went up to 10, kept going. Little blip here, September and October, but it pretty much held. And then we had a big, strong move in this candle. November, we went to a high 27.15. So we're off the lows right there in this year from 3, and we're all the way going up to 10 and 27. So crazy move up. We keep going. You're talking a high of 47.86. We go to next year in February, almost a year. You bought down here 3 or 5, and with any kind of size, whatever you trade, but you're loaded. You are set now, and you have tons of cash because you were patient. That's what all the market is patience. Now, you can day trade into all that, but any kind of big moves like this, any kind of low you get to pound it. And so look on this. 22 months from the COVID low, 2020 low, 357 to a high of 74.21. If you waited 22 months, you earn from 357 to 74.21. You know how much money that is? The lower you get on a stock, like if you buy a stock 50, it goes to 100. Okay, but it's 50. It's $3.57. So that's an amazing run, and it was a total V recovery. And now we get a Ukraine-Russia war. So this happens, and we get a big, massive candle, 2022. Things change dramatically. We go back down. Yeah, this is going down. Look at this go straight down on stochastics to a low on this cross, which is 621. See, this is your next low, connection points. You have another buying opportunity. Now, this is a U recovery. This is a V. This is a U. Look how big and wide it is. And then we start going up. This was a little more different than the V recovery. So you're getting a green candle, then a red. This could have went down. It didn't. It held. We're going up, very slowly, choppy. This was a nice 3-bar run to get to a high of this candle, 28.75. So already 6 to 28. You have another great gain because you held. Then you go down 3-bar red. This was a bull flag. It turned into. Now this could have got worse. Maybe this goes all the way back down. But eventually on that 3-bar, and right here this green candle come in 11/30/2023. The low was 14.93. That was a good time to buy too. And then we go up. You have consecutive candles, 3, 4, 5, and then you're going to a high of 56.99 in March 2024. That's another great run. Then this candle come in. This was a big bearish candle. Got back down to a low of 30.20, and then we take off, again to basically this high, July 31st, 2024, 70.08. So from, again, this low. Now, this could have been pieces. You get in certain parts, maybe get out here, and then get back in, but you're talking from 21 months from the low, 2022 low. So actually 2021 low, 621 to a high of 70.08. So you're talking, what's that, 64? What was that here? 71, we'll say. I'm not adding it cents, but look at the range here. And you're talking the same thing, 22 months, 21 months from the low. Tremendous gain here. Look at this, 6 to 70, 357, 74. And that's where we come into play now. Let me just move this out here. So on these candles down here too, this is about 10 months. Where are we at now? 10 months. You draw this line across 3. You're talking 6. So it blew by 9 should be the stop here. We blew by 784. So, is this a buy right now? Could go lower, but eventually this will go back up. That's the whole point of this, of position. And we'll bounce. Will the next bounce go up to 70? Yeah, eventually we'll get hot again. We'll get to 55, 60 around this area. You're at a 242 stochastics. You want to cross over on this monthly. Just like this. There was a little false move, but then eventually we went up, just like this. So my theory on this is in the next year to 6 months, it's hard to say exactly because every time is different. But you're going to get a bigger turn from the low to high, and wherever this low winds up. Could we go lower? I think we're still going lower before we eventually start to move, at least the bounce. We'll see what this turns into. Is this going to be more, this whole year is going to be slop and we struggle? This is the question. But in a year, and we're talking another 6, 8, 18 months, just like this, 20 months maybe, we should be back up, and I believe, unless something just weird happens in the market. And that's my plan on this. So this is going to be longer. It'll be a hold over a year. And, there it is, 357 to 74.21. 621 to 70.08. What will this be? Will this wind up being? Will this be like 5 to 70? Another move? We shall see, but this is the game plan longer term. Peace.